Tribe, welcome to this week's video. Today we're continuing our mini-series about all of the classes at Tribe, and we're going to talk about our very popular jump class. Our jump class meets once a week for 30 minutes. The class is $25 a month for all ages. It's awesome. You just register on our website at register.ourtribeathletics.com. That link is on the screen. And the monthly registration, you can come and go as you need to. If your schedule changes, life changes, athlete schedule change, no big deal. We invite you to try this class out and just give it a go and see what the results are like. So today we're going to jump out of the office into the gym. I'm joined by Kenzie, and we're going to tell you all about our jump class at Tribe. Why don't you just, if you could, talk us through the format of the jump class, because it's just a 30-minute class once a week. So tell us about how the class is structured.
Yeah, so class is structured the same every week. We have a plethora of different drills that we'll do, station work at the end, which is we pick and choose every week, just kind of depending on what we're wanting to focus on that week. But for the most part, the first 15 minutes of class stays the same, which I think really helps to see progression and improvement over the weeks with the athletes in class. But so at the start of class, we'll start out with slow kicks, and then we transition into our fast kicks. We'll do T-jumps all together, then we'll do some cone work where they're lifting their legs over. They'll do right, left, and all together. Then we'll do pike throwdowns. We do candlesticks to really work on, bracing your core as well as having that core strength. We'll do candlestick throwdowns. We do our rock and rolls as well as seated toe touches, and then we'll move into our stations. And we have anywhere from trampoline, jump back, sliders, box jumps, squats, actual jumps with tumbling included, a bunch of them.
So what are some common problems you see in our athletes, on teams, when we look at jump scores? What are some of the common things that we see athletes doing incorrectly in their jumps?
Yeah, definitely. I think a few things, when looking at it as a whole, are athletes dropping their chest, maybe not tucking their tailbone under to get that hyperextended jump look, legs more out to the side instead of more in front of us, as well as just honestly not having enough power off the ground to get their legs up. They could be really flexible, but not have that power to get their legs up and down in the amount of time from, jumping off the floor to landing.
Right, and we talk about three main components of jumps being flexibility, power, just getting off the floor, like you said, and then the technique of how they're physiologically moving their hips to go at the highest point they can.
Mm-hmm.
You've been coaching jump class since it started. What do you feel like is the biggest benefit to athletes being in the class doing the drills versus maybe just doing them at home, which we obviously encourage, and a lot of these drills or most of these drills they can do at home, but what's the benefit of being in the class in the gym together?
Definitely. I think if you're looking at the benefit of jump class as a whole, it's definitely being able to break down all the individual skills that are put into our jumps and just really getting to work on the technique of them. I know athletes don't love doing 100 toe touches, on the ground to try to figure out how to make their jumps better. So if we're able to break apart and work on just arm placement or leg placement or your jump height, it really helps to kind of break down the skill and make it easier for the athletes. And if they're able to do a drill where they're focusing on where to put their arms 100 times, it's easier than doing 100 toe touches on the ground. And then honestly, the biggest benefit I think of actually being in the class is having, a coach there to be able to maybe count hard for you. I think when you're at home and maybe you're doing slow kicks or fast kicks, it's easy to maybe slow them down or not hit it as hard as you would in class with a coach counting for you. I think another benefit too is having just having that coach have a set of eyes on you to, maybe point out any mistakes. I know a lot of times when we're doing fast kicks, my athletes might not realize that their arms are going up and down every time they kick. And so, being able to point that out and having them squeeze their upper body, and the only thing moving in fast kicks is their legs, that's something they might not notice. And also just having other resources at the gym. At home, obviously you can make do with, maybe what you have, but at the gym, we have our trampoline, we have big mats to do our jump back drills, we have ankle weights, just a lot of the things that we use every week.
So why don't you tell us, what are your favorite 3 drills that you do in jump class? What are they? Why do you love them, and why do they work? And set it up for us. Explain to us how an athlete can do it, and what's gonna make it work for them.
For sure. I would say the first drill that I love, it's the second thing we do in class. It's our fast kicks. And I love this drill because, we're not even jumping, but we're focusing on our arm placement. We're focusing on bracing our core and using our abs. We're focused on, zero movement from our upper body, and really just focusing on having good straight legs in, where they should be. So when we're doing our fast kicks, our arms are in a really narrow T, and we're kicking right behind our arms. So, some athletes we talked about like to kick more out to the side, but this is going to, focus on bringing that kick in just a little bit more and narrow. So they're kicking right behind, and keeping on count with the coach who's coaching for them. Next one would definitely be the jump back drill. This is probably, honestly, I'd say this is my favorite drill out of all of them that we do in class. So the jump back drill is you're gonna have an athlete in front of a mat, preferably about waist high, I would say. So obviously, you'll have to look at your athlete's height and, help them out there, and maybe we have different mats we're using. But this one, they're actually going to be doing a toe touch on the ground, but land on their booties on a mat. So they're not having to focus on snapping their legs down and landing, but get to focus on height without, having to land back on the ground. So with the jump back drill, you're setting up just like a normal toe touch. You're gonna jump as high as you can. I love to video my athletes doing this because they're really able to see the potential of the height of their jump without having the landing. So, typically when I video show the athlete, they're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea my legs could get up that high. So I think that kind of just, gives a little, ignites a little fire in them to be like, I can have hyperextended jumps. I just have to work on my power off the ground in order to get my legs back down together, and sometimes we tell them we got to find that happy medium at first, like how high can we get it with getting our legs back together, and then we start working it more and more and more. And then my last drill that I love to do is just use the trampoline. If used correctly, I think that it can really help jumps. I also love being able to film my athletes on here, from the front or from the side. I'm thinking of an athlete right now who, they use it so well. So when you jump in, we really try to have them jump in at this negative angle in order to really help shoot their legs back and have their tailbones tucked under. So if you have tailbone tucked under, chest up tall, and legs in that position, you're gonna get an insane hyperextended jump. And if you can, feel that on the trampoline, it makes it easier to transition it down to the floor.
So on each of those drills, let's start with the first one, the fast kicks. What are some things you look for that athletes typically do wrong? When you're coaching it, what things are you generally coaching or correcting?
Definitely arms. We see a lot of people moving their arms up and down instead of keeping them in that narrow T and not moving them at all. And then I would just say the other one is maybe having too wide of a T, so they're kicking more out to the side instead of in front. That's definitely the 2 things I think I see the most.
And how about on that jump back drill? What do you look for to go wrong there, and how do you correct for that?
Definitely just not. I think when it comes to the jump back drill, a lot of people are nervous because you do have to jump back a little bit to, land on the mat. But I think just seeing what goes wrong there is not taking full advantage of landing on a mat, so people are still doing their jump like they maybe would on the floor. So, really focusing on them trying to tuck their tailbone under and get their legs up to that more like V shape in front instead of like out to the side. So really just trying, video them and show them and be like, hey, you could do this, or sometimes we see athletes have more flexibility in one of their legs, so one of their legs is higher. So that's why I love videoing too, because they can see it and start to fix that. They fix their arm placement, their leg placement, and then it all just starts to come together.
And on the trampoline, what are some common errors that happen there? A lot of kids have a trampoline at home, so what are things you fix and how on the trampoline?
Definitely. Like I said before, we really focus on that approach of jumping in at like this negative angle that's going to help, shoot our legs backwards. And so I feel like a lot of people just kind of like jump up and down in the middle and do a toe touch, which is not what we want to do. As well as just a lot of athletes that drop their chest. Like that is one of the number one things that is going to, make your legs stay at this parallel instead of being able to, lift up your chest and have your legs lift up with you. So I think that's like, one of the things that I look for is, are my athletes keeping their chest up and having, a good upper body position to allow their legs to get to their full potential height.
Lastly, what's a normal timeline in seeing a difference in jumps from like the first class that an athlete comes in and as they progress through the class?
Yeah, honestly, I think after, even one class, you can start to see a difference in the technique. And, after one class, I'm definitely thinking more along the lines of an athlete's arm placement, having pointed toes, rotating their hips, landing with their feet together, all those little things that you can really start to pick apart and see after maybe, one class of a coach being like, hey, let's try this. Let's do a drill that might help you, with your arm placement. And then I definitely say, if we're thinking more along the lines of your height of your jumps and the flexibility, that's definitely more long-term that you'll see along the way if you stay consistent with stretching and all the jump drills.
All right, that's this week's video. We hope you enjoyed joining us and learning about our jump class. We hope to see your athlete in a jump class soon. It is a huge part of our score sheet in All-Star Cheer, and it definitely benefits the teams when we have groups with great jumps and can make that part of our score sheet shine. So we will see you soon in a jump class, and we will see you on next week's video. Happy spring break, Tribe.